I woke up really early this morning and I drove an hour to the beautiful town of Lugo. I was looking for fog. The forecast was calling for fog this morning. But yeah, of course I didn't get any fog. At that point I had no idea what to do. I had driven all the way there, so I didn't want that trip to go to waste. So I had an idea, probably not a good one. I thought that it could be fun to shoot both the Bronica and the Sony the same compositions and try to create the same images later on the computer. And that's what I did this morning. I'm gonna play the video one. It's a short one, but make sure to stay until the end of the video because I'm gonna be talking about the results that I got, what I think about this little experiment, and everything that I got from this film versus digital. Okay, so you watched the video, you saw the images, I know what you're thinking, and you are right. This little experiment doesn't really show anything, doesn't prove anything, and it wasn't at all about film versus digital or comparing medium format film with APS-C cameras, because they have nothing to do with each other and they are not really comparable. As you can see, the size of the sensor, this is not a sensor, but it's the equivalent. It's very different between these two systems, and that has consequences, that has implications besides the quality of the image, like for example, the depth of field. And of course, the way you develop your film, the scanner that you use. I used a cheap scanner, the resolution you scan it at, I used 2400 dpi, many things that play against film here. But I was just wondering if I could get similar results from the Sony and from the Bronica using the materials that I have. I don't have any other scanner. I would love to have a drum scanner, but I don't, and things like that. So that's why I tried to do this little thing this morning, and it actually showed me a few things. The first one is that the Bronica lenses have a barrel distortion, and that's something that you might not notice if you don't compare the images to something else, but it was pretty clear to me when I compared them to the Sony. The Sony lens has distortion too, but Lightroom corrects that once you import a photo there automatically. It doesn't do the same for the Bronica, but because it doesn't know which lens I used. So yeah, that's something that I might have to look into, how to correct it manually, changing some values there in Lightroom. I'm not too worried though, because it's not like a big deal, but it's something that I noticed that is different from shooting film, that you can't correct that automatically like Lightroom does with the digital cameras. The other difference, and I was expecting this one, is the way that both mediums, film and digital, render the highlights. Film does a much better job here, and they look so much more, I don't know, beautiful than the way digital does it. Sometimes it kind of looks like metallic. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know, when it's something metallic, a metallic surface or something is shiny. I know, it looks a little bit worse than film. Once again, this is not a huge deal. It doesn't really happen all the time, but when it happens, film does a much better job. The files, the TIFF files that come from the scanner and the RAW files from the camera, they behave very similar in Lightroom, and by that I mean when you move the sliders, shadows, highlights, whatever, contrast, it has a very similar effect on the image. So if you increase the whites, for example, all the way to the right, it looks very similar to on the RAW file and the TIFF file. So that was a little bit of a surprise, because I think I was expecting something different. The RAW files have more information on the shadows. That's something I noticed, and the photo of the stairs, that it had more shadows there, or more details on the shadow than the TIFF file. But other than that, yeah, pretty similar. And yeah, I can't really think of anything else right now. My conclusion about this experiment is that I can actually create very similar results with both cameras. I just have to play with Lightroom in a little bit of different way. I have to add a little bit of grain to the digital photos to make them look more like if they came out of the Bronica, but at the very end, the images look very similar. Of course, this is looking at them on the computer, on the screen, and printing them small, because, you know, I like small prints. This is a really big print for me. I really like to print smaller than this. If you were to use these two systems in a different way, maybe you are gonna print really big, or maybe you are gonna use a better scanner, or I don't know, something like that, then the results would be very different, that is for sure. But in my case, and that's what I wanted to show, I believe I kind of expected this, or I suspected this, but now I confirmed that both cameras actually can do a really good job out there, and makes me happy to know that I can create the same results and the same kind of images with both cameras, because that's the key to a consistent body of work, I believe. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a little bit different this time, but I'm gonna be doing more things like this. I think it was a fun experiment, and I actually wanna check some other things that I'm curious about. Let me know if I did this, if I should do this in a different way to actually have more objective results or more scientific results. Yeah, let me know whatever you think about this little experiment, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.